Well, welcome to the Milestone Fitness Podcast. I am Coach Tyler, and today we are talking about strength versus endurance, how to balance them as your race season heats up. So, like I said, I'm Coach Tyler. I am coach at Milestone Fitness, a remote training platform for racers. I myself am a busy racer. I work with many racers who are busy, don't have a ton of time to train off the bike. So I take those sessions that time we have each day and make them specific and very effective. And that's exactly what I want to do in these podcasts. I want to make it effective. I don't want a lot of extra fluff. I like to keep them short, around 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Like I said, strength versus endurance, how to balance as the season heats up. So our goal is to stay strong and conditioned as volume from races increases. So we've spent probably a good portion of the winter working on our fitness gains, increasing our mobility, our strength, our endurance. And then as the season heats up, we might find ourselves wanting to let those things go because we're starting to feel like we're too busy or it just doesn't seem to fit in as easily as it did. That life just gets more hectic when we have more options of fun things to do when it's nicer outside. So many racers drop those sessions. That is a big mistake, something I want you to avoid. Let's think about the seasonal shift here. So, as training volume increases, we build fitness. Now, we probably spent, like I said, most of the winter doing that. And now races and events start popping up. So we find that energy that we were using for that bigger training volume to go towards races, to more time on the bike. But it's important to remember that strength, endurance, mobility, that's kind of the glue that holds everything together. That's what helps keep us racing faster, safer, recovering better. So we don't want to let those things go completely. So let me just go through strength and endurance right now. So the importance of maintaining that strength training is it's going to ensure that you have power, you've got control on the bike, and you're more resistant to injury by having proper strength. Then endurance, it's going to help us increase or maintain our endurance. We're going to be more cardiovascular efficient. So we're going to be able to essentially have a heart that can pump blood more efficiently to working muscles, kind of like having a bike that's able to put out I should say, a bike that's fuel efficient but fast. That's exactly what we're going for with endurance training. So making sure that you've got a heart that can perform and do what it needs to do on race day is going to happen off the bike. So don't let that go. And then it's important to not do too much of one or the other. Um, you don't want to run out of gas or break down if you want to think about it that way. We need the two of them. So make sure you're not skipping strength or you're not skipping endurance. So what's a way that we can incorporate this if we're racing every weekend or almost every weekend? Simply put, we can do two short strength sessions a week to help maintain strength without draining the body and incorporate a little bit of recovery in it. So keep these sessions specific. Make sure that the sessions are sport specific. They're able to help you work through the movements, and then they're not overly draining because we want to be fresh for those race weekends. So we want strength that complements our riding this time of year because time on the bike and race time is when we really want to be able to perform. Next, you can do is to take those opposing days, 2 other days of the week, and pair them with a moderate to easy session for one session. So, something that's kind of like an endurance session. So I would rate that as a near all day effort. It's not easy, but it's definitely not hard. And then another session that's got some intervals. So something that has some higher intensity work that's going to get the heart rate up, but then allow for time for the heart to recover between those. So you're doing some kind of interval training as well, or something that's a little bit more prolonged than an interval. But simply put, that's 4 days of our week. Then taking that fifth weekday and either doing a rest day or a mobility specific day. So a day that's not too taxing. So if you look at that for the week, while we are training every day or almost every day of the week, we're not doing anything crazy. We're keeping the system moving. We're maintaining our fitness and we're not wearing ourselves out. So on race weekend, we're able to still have a strong and successful race day without feeling like we got beat down from training off the bike during the week. Now, let's talk a little bit deeper about just other things we can do to maximize our performance. And that would be recovering and fueling. So sleep, fuel, hydration. So first, making sure you're getting proper rest. We've got specific podcasts on sleep, but if I were to give you a general rule, if you're an adult, you want to get at least 7 hours of sleep, ideally. If you're under 18, 8 hours plus is even better for you to make sure that you're not tipping the scale too far one way. It's going to help reduce the chance of injury, burnout, fatigue, and just just your overall I should say mindset on things as well, getting proper sleep. So for me, I'm probably an athlete who's more on the higher scale of sleep, that I've always been a person that kind of need 9 hours of sleep just about every night. And I found that no matter how hard I try or think I can change that, if I don't get that amount of sleep in, after 4 or 5 days, it comes back to bite me every single time, no matter how hard I try. And we've all had those nights. For me specifically, I know for me, usually if I'm up later than I want to be, it's almost always working on my bike. Um, my wife and I, we kind of live in a little bit of a remote area. We can't get parts as quick as we can, as quick as I would like. So sometimes getting parts takes a couple more days. And so then I find myself late in the week with the parts showing up, and then me out there late at night, and then trying not to disturb my neighbors, but maybe doing a hot lap at night real quick to make sure things are good to go before I load up my bike. So sleep, very important. Next is fuel, making sure you're giving your body the fuel it needs to perform for life, for training, for racing, for everything. Food is something that we can always kind of make sure that we're giving ourselves the best nutrients. We have multiple opportunities a day to fuel ourselves for performance. And with that, I suggest personally a balanced diet. There's lots of different things out there, but we need all the major food groups: fats, proteins, carbs, a properly balanced diet for athletes that's got a decent amount of carbs, some protein, and some fat, I think is the best way. There's lots of thoughts and methods out there, but I think if you're an endurance athlete, that is the recipe for success. And then finally, hydration. I talk sometimes about hydration leading up to a race, hydration at a race, but hydrating is something we need to do every day. So making sure you're staying properly hydrated, whether you're in an office environment, a shop environment, a field environment, whatever it may be, making sure you're staying hydrated is important to be able to help our body recover from sessions, get ready for sessions, and just improve our general health. And then when you're thinking about fueling, making sure that your fueling matches your volume. So if you're training more, you need to be eating and drinking more. Simple as that. You're sweating more during those sessions, you're using more energy. And we don't want you to get in a state of chronic overtraining from under fueling. So make sure that you're keeping up on your hydration and keeping up on your fueling. And then finally, under recovering. Like I said, for me, the biggest one, sleep, waiting for those parts late in the week, suffering through it. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep, making sure that you're doing the proper recovery things. If it's possible for you to take a couple chill minutes a day or in the evening and not just go, 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 that's a great way to ensure you don't burn out. Especially right now, we're just now into June. We got a long season of racing ahead of us. Think about the long term. We don't want you burning out. We want you to have a good season from beginning to end. So let's wrap it up today. Um, you don't have to choose between strength, stamina, and time on the bike. The ideal scenario is keeping it balanced, making sure you're not completely removing one. You're making adjustments so you're able to consistently train on and off the bike and have good races without overdoing it during the week. That's probably my top key takeaway is each week, look at what you got going on, look at what training you need to do, make all the pieces fit. That's going to have you at your strongest, your best, and your most consistent. And then just remember, above all, strong, fit makes for the most resilient athlete. So think about that. If you're not feeling like getting up early and doing that session, or you get out of work and you're like, man, it sounds better just to hang out on the porch for the evening or whatever, think about that. That's 30, 40-minute sacrifice of training is going to pay off on Sunday, which is the day many of us are training for and preparing for week in and week out. So keep that in your mind as well. Make those little sacrifices. You'll get the performance. You'll have the results you need, and you'll stay with that fire lit in you, wanting to get more out of your body and out of that machine every time you're on it. And so that's it for me. Simple enough this week. as always, follow us on Instagram if you got any questions about off the bike training, fueling. You can DM me on Instagram, message me on Facebook, whatever you need. I'm here to help racers. And then on top of that, if you're not familiar with Muscle Fitness and you want to give it a try, I'll give you a free week. All you need to do is message me your email address. I'll hook you up with a free week and you can give it a go. We've got tons of races on our program. So many athletes have enjoyed success. If you want to give it a test drive before you sign up, that's good with me. Just send me a message. We'll get you going. I'll see you guys next week.